to Jonathan Taylor. Huge hole. He's at the 30. He's going to go. 10, 5, touchdown. Jonathan Taylor made a man miss the line of scrimmage and then runs it into Pater for a one-handed INT. Are you kidding me? Kenny Moore.
What a play by Nyheim Hines.
Horseshoe is back, baby. The horseshoe is back.
What's going on, Colts Nation? Welcome back to another episode of the Bring the Juice Colts podcast. Again, guys, just want to announce a few things before we get started in this video. Make sure to join our Discord, guys. Bring the Juice Colts podcast. Make sure to join that. We'd love to have all of you in there, interact with one another. And then also, again, guys, we're so close to 6,000 subscribers now. It was really awesome. Couldn't do it without the support of all of you. So thank you once again for everyone that continues to watch our videos, continues to subscribe, and a lot of other things. And when we hit 6,000 subs, we'll probably do a giveaway of some kind. And, you know, with the way it's going, we certainly hope to hit that maybe here by the end of the month, maybe. But who knows? So it just depends when we get there. But thank you all again so much, the new subscribers and the old subscribers who've been around for a while. All of you, thank you so very much. Really appreciate all the support on the channel. Really, really appreciate it. All right, so you guys can tell by the title of this video, this is the opportunity for the Colts to land Orlando Brown. Now, we've gotten a lot of people asking us about a trade for Orlando Brown. And anyone that's followed this podcast for a few weeks now knows I'm a huge advocate for Orlando Brown. I absolutely love Orlando Brown. But what we're going to talk about here is the measures of how this can happen and if it will actually happen, because, you know, there's a lot of things to take into account here. So we know that Orlando Brown does not want to be a right tackle in the NFL anymore. He was a right tackle when he was drafted by the Baltimore Ravens in the 3rd round, the 83rd pick overall in the 2018 NFL draft, the same draft that Quentin Nelson and Braden Smith both came out of. And, you know, he's been really good ever since, guys. And for a right tackle at 6'8", 340 pounds, he is a massive human being. Very, very, very big. And he says that he no longer wants to be a right tackle. He's been a left tackle for the majority of his career before coming into the NFL and wants to be a left tackle now because he doesn't find it fun being a right tackle anymore. And he now wants to be the left tackle of somebody in particular. And that's obviously not going to be the Ravens due to the fact that Ronnie Stanley is the left tackle for the Ravens, and he just got paid the biggest left tackle contract in the NFL. So it's sounding like Orlando Brown's future with the Ravens is highly in question, and the Ravens don't want to trade him, but they won't turn down a decent offer if it comes their way, right? One of the few issues that the Colts have to deal with here is Orlando Brown is a very young and talented tackle. He's 25 years, he's going to be 25 years old this year, so very young. He's a 2-time Pro Bowler. And so his name is very big as well as his size. So not only are there teams that are willing to invest into a left tackle, I mean, the Colts aren't the only one. There are a lot of teams that are looking for a left tackle, a future franchise left tackle that could really use him. And I hear that the Colts are amongst the teams that are drawing the most interest. You know, the Colts obviously want Orlando Brown, which would make sense. A lot of teams do. But again, what you have to think about in draft compensation, right? The great news is the Colts didn't give up the 1st-round pick, which allows you to go ahead and use that 1st-round pick, maybe a fourth or a third or fourth or something later on in the future to just add to that value is what you're going to have to give up for Orlando Brown. I'm unfortunately thinking that a first round draft pick is not going to be enough to get Orlando Brown off the Ravens. I think ultimately the 21st pick is not going to give the Ravens much security in knowing who they were going to get. Now, if this was a top 10 pick, I think the Ravens would probably take it because they know that there's about 2 or 3 guys that they could target that would totally make sense for this pick, right? But if they're only getting the 21st, they're not far off from their first round pick that they have this year from us. So they would have to probably trade both of those and another pick to get into the top 10. Maybe they would use it that way. That's possible. But again, you're probably going to have to give up more than just one pick, and it's going to have to be more than the first. So are we willing to give up that much for a left tackle? I'll say this, from talent-wise, Orlando Brown would totally be worth giving up multiple picks, a first or maybe like a mid-round pick next year. Definitely makes sense to get a guy like Orlando Brown who is talented and very smart. But then you run into the other issue of this trade, okay? You run into the other issue that a lot of people sometimes aren't thinking about. Ryan Kelly, our center, is currently getting paid over $50 million over the next 4 years. Or next 3 years, basically. And Quentin Nelson this next year is going to get paid. Quentin Nelson's going to get paid because he's one of the best linemen in all of football. He has to get paid. He's probably going to get paid some of the most money of any player in the whole class. So you have to take that into consideration. And then on top of that, Braden Smith is most likely going to have to get a payday as well. Braden Smith just went this last year giving up no sacks in 16 games. This guy is one of the best tackles in the league now too, and people aren't talking about him. He's one of the best tackles in the league now. So 2 more players this next year have to get re-signed. And you're already paying Ryan Kelly that amount of money. So 3 offensive linemen that are going to get close to max contracts for their positions. We don't know what's going to happen with Mark Lewinsky. We don't know yet. And so the issue with Orlando Brown now is, with the talent being there, the money just does not equate. Again, if Orlando Brown came to the Colts and said, I'll be your left tackle for half the price, like you can pay me $10 million a year for the next 4 or 5 years, then I would totally take that deal. I would totally take it. But I don't think that's going to be the issue here, is that Orlando Brown is going to want to get paid like a left tackle most likely. And considering what the market is for left tackles nowadays and what they're getting paid based off of Ronnie Stanley's deal, I mean, Brown is going to get paid close to it, I think, whoever he ends up with. So again, if Orlando Brown told the team, I don't care about the money, I just want to be a left tackle, and it was that easy, then I would say, go for it, Colts, please. But the issue is, it's going to be the money factor. It's going to be the money factor. It's always about money. And the Colts don't just have an offensive line problem that they need to address when it comes to money. They're going to have to pay some other guys. They got to pay Darius Leonard. They're going to have to probably pay Khari Willis. You know, guys like that. Guys later on, a couple players that are going to need to get paid, right? And if the Colts are going to invest money into free agency about, you know, the edge or maybe a corner, you know, things like that, Ballard's going to have to figure out this deal because, you know, if you're going to think about getting something there, Buckner's already getting a pretty much a max contract. You know, 3 guys in your offensive line are, your star linebacker is going to. You're paying $24 million for your quarterback. It's just very difficult. Am I saying that this trade's not going to happen? No, I'm not saying that. Do I want this trade to happen? I would absolutely love to have Orlando Brown as a left tackle. Think that would be amazing. It would be protecting Carson Wentz greatly. I think Orlando Brown would be phenomenal in this spot. Again, guys, it's just ultimately we're in competition with other teams when it comes to trading. Ultimately, it doesn't even matter if Orlando Brown wants to go to the Colts. It's a matter of whether or not the Ravens will take the deal from the Colts, right? And especially with the Ravens having to go up against the Colts maybe at some point later on in the year, that could be an issue. And then on top of that, it's money. So dealing with other teams and then the money issue. The money is the big thing here. I mean, the Colts will continue to find a left tackle somewhere else and this offensive line will still be great. Orlando Brown would probably be at the very beginning better than any option that the Colts could get. But again, that's why you would probably invest money into a left tackle in the draft, because it would pay you less. It would be less money to pay a left tackle early on in their career as their rookie deal. It would just be cheaper. You could groom that guy into your system. It's just how it is, right? I mean, that's the big thing here. I don't think Orlando Brown to the Colts is viable. I really don't. I would love for it to happen, but when you're looking at dealing with other teams and you're dealing with money, Ballard has the money right now, but next year, what's he going to have? I mean, the salary cap, thankfully, is not dropping right now. So thankfully, they don't have to deal with that. But you got to pay Quentin Nelson, Braden Smith on your offensive line. You don't know if you're going to pay Mark Lewinsky at some point later on. Ryan Kelly's already getting paid big bucks. Buckner's got it. Darius Leonard's got to get paid. Naheem Hines is going to get a contract at some point this next year because he's the most electrifying offensive weapon we have currently. It's just one of those things where I just don't see it as a viable option. I would love for it to happen, and if Ballard can somehow pull that off and only pay him like a fraction, if Orlando Brown is really saying that it really has that mindset of taking a little bit less money down the road just to play the position that he wants, then Ballard take all reins on it. But that'll be the best offensive line in the whole NFL, and it won't even be close. But again, it's a lot of factors that you have to take into account, which honestly makes me think this trade won't happen. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Let us know what you think. I think almost all of you would say you would take Orlando Brown if the trade and the deal was right. But ultimately, what do you guys think? Is it even possible to you to think that we could even get him? Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And as always, go Colts.